The phone goes quiet on a Tuesday afternoon. No warning, no error message worth noticing at first. Just a little bar in the corner that used to say 5G or LTE, and now it doesn't say anything at all. No service. You try calling your daughter. Nothing happens. You try again, thinking maybe you're standing in a bad spot. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's just one of those days the network has trouble. So you set the phone down and go on with your afternoon, because why would you think anything else? Here's what's actually happening in that quiet hour. Somewhere else, a stranger has just walked into a phone store or made a call to your carrier and convinced them to move your phone number onto a SIM card that stranger is holding. Not your phone. Theirs. And the moment that happens, every call and every text meant for you, including the codes your bank and your email send you to prove it's really you logging in, start arriving on a device you've never seen. From there, it moves fast. A password reset here, a code typed in there, and money that took you years to save can be gone in the time it takes to brew a pot of coffee. I've sat across the table from people this happened to. Smart people. Careful people. It wasn't carelessness that got him. It was simply not knowing what a dead phone screen can actually mean. By the time we're done here, you're going to know. You'll know what this looks like the moment it starts, and you'll know the one or two things that make it almost impossible for anyone to do this to you. So let's get into it. Now, I want to be straight with you about the size of this, because some of what you'll find online is overblown, and I don't deal in overblown. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, the people who track this kind of crime across the whole country, recorded 982 of these cases in 2024, with a little under $26 million lost in total. Divide that out, and the average person who got hit lost around $26,400. That's not a rounding error. That's somebody's emergency fund or a chunk of a retirement account, gone in an afternoon. Now, 982 cases in a year of millions of phone accounts might sound like long odds, and in one sense, it is. This isn't the most common scam out there, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But here's the part that matters to you specifically. Of everyone who gets hit by this, it's adults 60 and older who lose the most money, more than any other age group, according to the same federal data. Younger folks tend to lose smaller amounts. The people losing the most are the people watching this video right now. And there's a quieter reason this stays under the radar. A SIM swap is usually just the first domino. The real damage, the drained bank account, or the stolen retirement funds often gets reported under a different name entirely, because the victim reports the theft, not the dead phone that made it possible. So the true reach of this is almost certainly larger than the official number suggests. It's not exploding overnight. It's just quietly doing real damage to the people least able to absorb the loss, and that's exactly why we're spending the time on it today. I spent 30 years working fraud cases, and I'll tell you something that surprised me early on. The cleverest scams almost never involve breaking through some complicated security system. They involve a phone call, a little bit of information about you that's easier to find than people think, and someone on the other end of that call who sounds calm and certain enough that they get believed. That's the whole trick, more often than not. I've sat with people after the money was already gone, and I've also gotten the call early enough that we stopped it cold. The difference, almost every single time, came down to whether they recognized what was happening in that first hour. That's really all I'm trying to give you here. Not fear, just recognition, because recognition is the thing that actually stops this. Let me walk you through how this actually happens, from the inside out, the way the victim experiences it. It starts before you ever notice anything wrong. Scammers piece together information about you, sometimes from one of the data breaches you hear about on the news, sometimes from things shared a little too freely online, a birthday, a pet's name, a maiden name, the kind of details that sound harmless but are often exactly what a company uses to confirm you're really you. They gather enough pieces to sound convincing. Then they go after your phone number itself. They contact your mobile carrier, Or sometimes walk into a retail store and convince an employee to move your phone number onto a SIM card they control. Your carrier thinks they're helping you, the actual customer, get a new SIM after losing a phone or switching devices. They're not. They're handing your number to a stranger. The moment that switch happens, your phone goes silent, the way I described a minute ago. No signal, no calls, no texts. And on the other end, that stranger's device starts receiving everything that used to come to you. That includes the one-time codes your bank sends to confirm a login, the codes your email provider sends when someone tries to reset a password, the codes that exist specifically to prove it's really you, so they request a password reset on your email. The code goes to them, not you. They get into your email. From there, they often reset your bank login the same way, because most people use that email to recover almost everything else. Once they're in, moving money out doesn't take cleverness anymore. It just takes minutes, because at that point, every system they touch believes they're you. That's the whole shape of it. Not a complicated hack, not some genius breaking encryption. Just a phone call, a few personal details, and a number that quietly changed hands while your phone sat there showing no service. Here's the good news in all of this. This scam actually announces itself, if you know what to watch for. You don't need to be a technical person to catch it. You just need to know these signs. The first one is the one we already talked about, and it's the big one. Your phone suddenly has no signal at all, not weak signal, not 1 bar, but nothing, and it stays that way for more than a few minutes with no explanation. A real network outage usually affects everyone around you. This affects only you. The second sign is what comes right before it, if you're paying attention. You might get a text or an email from your phone carrier confirming a change to your account, a new SIM card activated, a device added, something you never asked for. A lot of people glance at messages like that and assume it's spam or a mistake. It's not. That message is your carrier doing exactly what it's supposed to do, telling you something changed. The mistake is in not stopping to read it. The third sign shows up in your email instead of your phone. A password reset notice you didn't request for an account you didn't touch. One of these alone might be nothing. But a phone that's gone silent and a password reset email arriving around the same time, that combination is about as clear a warning as this scam gives. And the fourth sign is simpler than the others, and it's one I want you to remember above all the rest. If anyone ever calls you and asks you to read back a PIN number or a one-time code that just came through, hang up. It doesn't matter who they claim to be, your bank, your carrier, even if the number on your screen looks legitimate. No real bank and no real phone carrier will ever ask you to read a code back to them over the phone. That single fact on its own will protect you from almost every version of this scam, because that's the exact moment they need from you to finish the job. None of these signs require any special knowledge to spot. They just require you to notice when something's off and to trust that instinct instead of talking yourself out of it. That instinct has been right more often than people give it credit for. Now let's talk about stopping this before it ever starts, because there are a couple of simple steps that close this door almost completely. The single most effective thing you can do is set up a PIN or a passcode directly with your phone carrier, sometimes called a port-out PIN. This is different from your phone's lock screen code. It's a separate password that your carrier requires before anyone, including someone claiming to be you, can move your number to a new SIM card. Most carriers let you set this up for free, either in their app, on their website, or with one phone call to customer service. It takes a few minutes, and it's the one step that stops this scam at the source, before a stranger ever gets near your number. Next, take a look at how your important accounts confirm it's really you logging in. If your bank or email offers the choice, use an authentication app on your phone or a small physical security key instead of a text message code. A text message can be intercepted the moment your number gets swapped. A code generated inside an app on your actual device or a physical key in your hand cannot be redirected that way because it never has to travel through your phone number at all. Third, think about what you share publicly, and I mean this gently, not as a scolding. Birthdays, pet names, your mother's maiden name, the street you grew up on, these feel like harmless conversation online, but they're often the exact questions a company uses to confirm your identity. The less of that information is floating around in public, the fewer pieces a stranger has to work with. And last, hold on to this one simple rule, because it covers you even if you forget everything else. If anyone calls you, claiming to be your bank, your carrier, even the government, and asks you to read back a PIN, a password, or a code that just arrived on your phone, you hang up. Then you call the number printed on the back of your bank card or the number on your actual bill, yourself. Real companies already have your information. They will never need you to read a secret code back to them over the phone. That one habit, hanging up and calling back yourself, will protect you from almost anything a scammer tries, not just this one. Set the carrier PIN this week if you haven't already. That single step does more to stop this scam than everything else combined. Now, if you're watching this because you think this may have already happened to you, I want you to hear this first. None of what follows is about blame. This is a sophisticated trick that has fooled careful, intelligent people, and the only thing that matters now is what you do in the next hour. Call your mobile carrier's fraud department right away, but use a different phone to do it. A landline, a family member's cell, anything other than the phone that's lost service. Tell them plainly that you believe your number has been swapped without your permission, and ask them to shut down the unauthorized SIM and restore your number to your own device. This is the step that cuts the scammer off from everything else, because once your number is back under your control, those codes stop going to them. Right after that, call your bank and any other financial institution you use and tell them the same thing. Ask them to watch your accounts closely and freeze anything that looks suspicious. From a separate, secure device, not the one that lost service, go in and change the passwords on your email and your most important accounts, starting with whichever one you use to recover the others. Once you've done that, file a report. There are two places that matter here, and both are free and legitimate. One is identitytheft.gov, run by the Federal Trade Commission, which walks you through reporting identity theft, step by step. The other is ic3.gov, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, the same place that tracks the numbers I shared with you earlier. Filing with both doesn't just help you, it helps investigators see the pattern and go after the people doing this. It's also worth a call to your local police department just to have it on record. I know this can feel embarrassing, like you should have caught it sooner. You shouldn't carry that. The people who built this scam spent real time figuring out exactly how to make it convincing, and they've done it to people far more careful than most. What matters now isn't how it happened. It's that you caught it, you're acting on it, and every one of these steps puts you back in control. Here's what I want you to take from all of this. This scam doesn't work because people are careless. It works because it's quiet, and because most folks have never been told what a dead phone screen might actually mean. Now you have been, and that puts you ahead of it. If there's one thing I'd ask you to do today, it's this. Send this video to someone you care about, a parent, a spouse, a friend who's always saying their phone has been acting up lately. Not because I need the views, but because the people who fall for this are exactly the people who never saw a warning like this one before it was too late. A 2-minute share might be the only thing standing between someone you love and an empty account. And down in the comments, I'd genuinely like to know, had you ever heard of a port-out PIN before today? Tell me where you bank or which carrier you use, and whether you've already got one set up. It helps everyone watching to see how common or how rare this protection really is. I've spent a lot of years watching the same handful of tricks get dressed up in new clothes. Next time, I want to show you another one that's been quietly costing people their savings. The fake call from a grandchild in trouble, and the one question you can ask that makes any scammer hang up on you instantly. Until then, take care of yourselves and take care of each other.